Welcome to the SciFirst MovieTalk episode. So in this episode, I'm discussing the 2008 DreamWorks animated animal adventure sequel, Madagascar 2, Escape to Africa, as directed by Darnell and Tom McGrath, again, after directing the first movie in the franchise. Following on directly from the events of the last movie, which saw a group of animals from New York Zoo stranded on the island of Madagascar, having been caught up in a kerfuffle at New York's Central Station, we now catch up with them trying to return home in a once crashed, dilapidated plane they have managed to fix up and get working, crewed by none other than the penguins that made such a success of piloting the ship in the last movie that ended up stranding the animals in the first place. However, unfortunately, nobody took out any flight insurance. That and the plane's engines weren't really up to the task. Needless to say, regardless of everybody's best efforts, the troupe don't exactly make it back to New York, instead crash landing on the plains of Africa. Each of the animals end up having their own adventure whilst on the African continent. Alec the lion, as voiced by Ben Stiller, reunites with his long-lost family. Marty, a zebra, as voiced by Chris Rock, finds he might not be as unique as he thought, as he blends with the rest of the zebra collective. Gloria, a hippo, as voiced by Jada Pinkett Smith, is looking to settle down with that someone special. And Melman, a giraffe, as voiced by David Schwimmer, finds a new vocation as the resident witch doctor. As the penguins and monkeys work together to fix the plane, negotiating working terms and union rights, fun and frolics ensues as each of the animals tries to reconcile their place amongst their newfound friends and family. So, here we have yet another madcap, non-stop animal party, building on the antics and the characters following their exploits in the first movie, and to be honest, to pretty reasonable effect. With the premise being very similar to the first, a bunch of zoo animals get stranded somewhere they were never expecting to be, there was a danger that this could kind of feel very stale very fast. But it actually manages to kind of set itself apart, bringing a new emotional element to the score, some new focus and a host of new characters into the mix that manage to continue to keep the energy of that original flowing. It's perhaps not wholly original, taking a number of elements, in fact, from Disney's 1994 feature The Lion King, and even elements of the 2006 movie The Wild, especially the romance between a hippo and a giraffe, which was so reminiscent of that between two characters, a squirrel and a giraffe, in the aforementioned movie, which given that both Madagascar and The Wild themselves have a pretty similar premise in the first place, released essentially one on top of the other, it's never been clear who came first in terms of the idea itself. So this film's reliance on those elements did feel a little bit strange, I must admit, this time around, because I thought that was in the first movie, but they're not. The romance happens here. But admittedly, it played out a whole lot warmer and much more believable than Disney's effort. Of course, for a hippo and a giraffe, as best as it can do, there was even elements of the now cult 1990 Tom Hanks movie Joe versus the Volcano, which I thought was an absolutely brilliant touch. But the point is, it's still Madagascar at heart. The characters, the music, the setting are all familiar. Extended the world, created in the first movie with hilarious consequences. This time around, it's more a homely story, shall we say, with the introduction of Alex's parents, which serves as an emotional backbone for the movie, with Alex kind of proclaiming that he is the king of New York, only for this to be lost in interpretation, and ultimately Alex kind of fails to live up to his father's expectations in this respect. Amidst all of the slapstick, it does have a big heart, and at its core, and like the first movie, the group's friendship is paramount throughout. The group of over-the-top, larger-than-life characters are what make this movie through and through. Their banter, their comedy, and indeed their warmth. It is another complete riot of a movie, and again, really does have to be taken with a pinch of salt. It's been created for pure entertainment, you know, for laughs, and not realism by any stretch. This being even more off the reservation than the first one. I mean, how these elements can even undertake some of the things they do is certainly in question. But if you can get past this, it is just simply a righteous good time. We have more from the supporting cast too, who are simply excellent once again. More meerkats, of course. A few more cheesy songs. And indeed, the penguins and monkeys are totally on top form. The flight captain, or the captain, is simply on another level. Just the way they handle it, you know, from running as the cabin crew to the cool and collected acceptance of defeat as the plane plummets towards the ground. It's another bright, colourful, energetic entry that's once again full of situational, observational and slapstick comedy, which serves to bring these wonderful and crazy characters to life in a fantastically vibrant and engaging way. There's some brilliant running gags taken from the first film too, absolutely hilarious once again, and indeed Melman still on the case for San Diego Zoo, you know? The soundtrack hits the spot once again too. Now, of course, we have the obligatory dance fest. That's pretty much inevitable in these films, of course, making use once again of Reel to Reel's hit song, I Like to Move It. But also, we have another fantastically rousing and uplifting score by Hans Zimmer, which is playful and exuberant as the animation itself. Again, fantastically colourful and full of feel-good vibes. Totally crack-a-lacking. So overall, this is another totally outlandish and energetic feel-good animation once again from the DreamWorks studio, bringing us another nice, easy-going and vibrant story with a host of amazing characters and madcap adventures. A very pleasing film with a stronger emotional thread than the first, but also with a much more frantic and over-the-top beat at the same time, taking the energy and the elements that made that film such a non-stop party and raising the bar in this respect once again. Again, like its predecessor, it's just a bit over the top, bold and easy to watch fun. Absolutely cheesy, totally in your face and a total farce. That once again is simply wonderfully heartwarming and enjoyable family entertainment. So, that brings me to the end of this episode. I do hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please leave a like. Please do hit that subscribe button for more movie reviews, trailer reactions and other movie-related content. Absolutely loved having you at SciFirst MovieTalk and definitely love to have you back. Most of all, just thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.